Hi guys, what's up and welcome to this week's video. So this week I'm going to be reviewing the Samsung S25 Ultra, which is Samsung's latest flagship phone. I got it in the color jade green. This is the 256GB version with 12GB of RAM. So let's get straight into the review. So firstly, let's talk about the design and display of this phone. So this is one of the toughest phones that Samsung has ever made because it's made using ultra strong titanium frame as well as highly durable Corning Gorilla Armor 2 display glass. And to be honest, I have dropped the phone a couple of times and somebody else also dropped it a couple of times from about this height, so not too high, and it managed to hold up quite well, even though I've cracked phone screens in the past with that height. So yeah, phones are definitely getting stronger, and in this phone's case, it's definitely getting stronger. The layout of the buttons is also great. You have the power and volume buttons on the right, and then at the bottom of the phone, starting from the right, you have the SIM card tray, the mic, the charging port, the speaker, and the S Pen. So this leaves the left side of the phone completely clean, which kind of gives it that sleek and minimalistic look. The skin of the phone has a glossy and silky finish, and it's fingerprint resistant and not reflective like a mirror. The camera modules at the back also have a modest design as there's no casing around them, and overall the jade green color looks quite nice. The phone is also nice and sturdy to hold, and it weighs around 218 grams. Now onto the display. So the display is 6.9 inches. I feel like phones haven't really moved from that 6.8, 6.9 inch mark for the past couple of years. Also, I like that it has a rectangular shape rather than curved corners, and that's just personal preference. That just makes the screen look slightly bigger. And the display is completely flat with very thin bezels. So overall, I really do like the display and look of the phone. The display's colors look sharp and vibrant with a high amount of clarity, and the resolution goes up to Quad HD+. Moreover, with the addition of Samsung AI, there's now something called Procaler, which automatically upscales images to improve viewing quality on the phone. So it can make 720p things look like 1080p things. So now let's talk a little bit more in detail about carrying out everyday tasks on this phone using the phone's interface and features. So this phone runs on Android 15 with Samsung One UI 7, and Samsung has promised 7 years of software updates. That's a whole karmic cycle. So you could be getting karma for things you did 7 years ago, but the phone will be consistent. The interface of the phone is user-friendly and works quite smoothly. Apps open and close quickly, and you also have the sidebar so you can quickly access certain things straight from your home screen. I personally find it better than an iPhone, and that's because to go back, you can go back from either side. So you can swipe from the left, swipe from the right, and it kind of remembers your pathway. And on an iPhone, like to go back, there are like 3 different ways, and you have to use a different way each time depending on like what you're doing. I don't know, it's just confusing. However, one thing that Samsung has changed, which I don't like in terms of the interface, is the drop down. So now if you swipe from the top right, it brings up your settings like Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, brightness, blah, blah, blah. And then if you swipe from the left, it shows you your notifications. And I personally think there was no need for that, because just one swipe from the top from anywhere should bring up everything, like all your tools and your notifications. That part is a bit like the iPhone now, which I didn't like, but it's like a small thing and you can get used to it, so it's not really that big of a deal. So the fingerprint scanner and face recognition work quite well, but I don't think they work quite as well as, for example, on the OnePlus. And also the face recognition, I think iPhone is slightly better. However, it's not really an issue. It works fine, but I just know that OnePlus is slightly faster, and also iPhone's face recognition is slightly better. So you now have AI Select, which helps you select specific parts of your screen, such as text or pictures, making searching easier. So you also have something called Now Brief, which basically provides personalized insights at the end of each day or even during the day. So it shows you things like the weather, might suggest a playlist. And I do check it from time to time, and sometimes it is useful if you're just mindlessly kind of on your phone scrolling or checking things. And you also have the Now bar, which provides always visible information about your current tasks, such as what music you're playing, live notifications, or modes and routines on your lock screen. The phone also comes with Gemini, which is Google's AI, which is my personal favorite. If you've seen my other videos, like the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL video, I go more in depth about Gemini there and all the things you can do. So Gemini Live is great for interacting with the AI and getting genuine help like you're talking to a personal assistant. You also have the circle circle to search feature, which is very accurate and good, having used it. But yeah, if you want to see the features of Gemini more in depth, check out the Google Pixel Pro 9 XL review, because all the same features apply here on this phone. Back to the features of Samsung AI. Another great one is audio eraser. So if you are in a very loud environment, so the audio eraser feature helps you eliminate background noise. Also, I haven't had any issues regarding the call quality, even though when I've been in really noisy environments, the other person on the other end hasn't had a problem being able to hear me. So within the gallery app, you also have something called auto trim, which basically extracts key scenes from multiple video clips and kind of puts them together and creates a little movie for you. And I tested it out and it's pretty good. You know, it takes some things here and there to make a nice little movie. But would I actually use this? No, because I like going through everything and editing things myself, and also being in this field, like, I don't think I would ever find myself using it because I just wouldn't trust it. But yeah, if you just want to make something quick and simple and you don't want to get into the editing process, then yeah, that can be a good feature. I feel like that's targeted more at the older generation. Now let's talk about the camera. Now the camera of this phone, I'm very highly impressed. It's actually remarkable. And I also got one of my videographer friends to kind of try it out, and he personally loved it as well. And I think the thing that stood out the most was the zoom, but we'll get to that in a sec. Firstly, let's talk a little bit about the specs. You have a 12 megapixel selfie cam, 50 megapixel ultra wide and telephoto camera, and a 200 megapixel wide angle camera. The colors have a good amount of saturation and vibrancy. The balance between the level of detail and smoothness in shots is great. Portrait mode also looks quite flattering, and the skin tones look great in a variety of conditions, both indoor and outdoor. When taking selfies sometimes though, there is a bit of a delay, and I think that's because it's trying to get the motion photo, but it's something which is very minuscule. So now talking about the zoom of the camera, which is really good. It's an AI enhanced 100 times zoom, and I was at a football game playing and I got my friend to take some clips. He was sitting really high up, really far away, and he was able to capture video and things, and of course it's not going to be the best quality. Of course there's going to be a bit of video and photo noise, but those clips and things were definitely usable, and I think this phone definitely has the edge because I've used other phone zoom and it's not as good. So there's also an AI powered night mode, which is supposed to make low light photography look really good and remove noise there. It's good, but it's not amazing. I could still find some noise in some of the photos and video clips. You also have dual video mode, which records using both the front and back camera, and that can be good for content creators who make that kind of content. And the video stabilization is amazing. I think it's definitely an improvement from its predecessor, and it's probably some of the best video stabilization out there. The photo editor also has a bunch of new features which are powered by Samsung AI, and whilst they are good, sometimes they don't work as well. For example, I used the removal tool here to remove a bunch of people in the background, and whilst it did remove the people, it did make the background just not blend in with the rest of the photo that well, whereas I've used the people removal tool in the OnePlus series, and that works slightly better in my opinion. But on the bright side, you have other things like spot color and color mix, which makes editing photos very easy, as you can show certain things in color and you can also do color-based editing, so you can tweak things like the saturation of certain colors in the image. Overall, the camera and video camera, one of the best out there, no complaints, generally very, very good. Now let's talk about the S Pen. It's excellent for jotting things down, for doing longer tasks like editing when you don't want to use your finger. It's very precise and it's enjoyable to use. So whilst you can do all those amazing things with the S Pen that you've always been able to do, now with the addition of Samsung AI, you can use AI Select on it, and you can also translate things live. So I think the S Pen is a great little addition to any kind of phone out there. In fact, the reason that I probably didn't enjoy the Fold series as much was because of the lack of an S Pen. I think if any phone would benefit from having a pen built in where it's tucked away nicely, it would be the Fold series. So now let's talk about the phone's battery life and speakers. So the phone's battery is 5,000 milliamp hours, which I would say is a pretty average battery size. I know the OnePlus has 6,000 milliamp hours, and that's why the battery life of the OnePlus series is just absolutely remarkable. And if you're using a Quad HD plus resolution, taking lots of photos and videos, or you've connected to Bluetooth and you're using mobile data or hotspotting, the battery can drain pretty quickly. I would say it can last a day depending again on how much you use it. But yeah, I would say it's pretty neck and neck with the iPhone. The speakers of the phone are very nice. They go quite loud. The audio sounds well balanced for a phone, of course. And even at the highest volume, it doesn't sound like it's piercing your ears, which in some phones it does. So what's my overall verdict on this phone? Overall, it's a terrific phone. There are very few things, if any, that I can fault on this phone, from the design to the camera to the features. And I personally think that this phone encapsulates everything that a phone should do, plus the addition of Samsung AI and Gemini. So overall, it's a great phone to use. And in a market that's constantly trying to innovate and trying to put out new features, I feel like this phone captures all the core basic needs of a phone and it executes them very well. So that's pretty much it for this week's video. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. If you don't follow me on my other socials, what are you doing? Because I put out different kinds of content on other platforms like Instagram and TikTok. So go and follow me on there, and I will see you in my next video, or I might catch you on the other platform.